Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about Chapter 12, Monopolies, and they're going to differ pretty significantly from perfect competition that you just saw. Monopolies are at the other end of that continuum for market structures, right? This has the least amount of competition. So some characteristics I listed here. There's one firm in a monopoly, and they're selling a unique good, something you can't get elsewhere. They're also price makers, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. There are barriers to entry. That means it's difficult for firms to enter and compete in this market. One reason might be because the firm has patents on their good, maybe a pharmaceutical drug, that gives them the right to be the sole seller of this product for at least some time. We've also talked about with barriers to entry and monopolies already. If the minimum efficient scale, remember the MES, if that is pretty high, that might mean we have a natural monopoly, something like the electric companies or the water companies. There could also be strategic things going on that are making it difficult for others to enter, and a few other reasons, but probably the biggest one you can think of are patents. We're still going to use the golden rule here. MR, marginal revenue, equals MC, marginal cost, but we're going to see that the price is going to be greater than marginal revenue. It's no longer equal. And just talking about their profits, remember pi sometimes uses profit. In the short run, they can make positive, negative, or even zero profits. These are all economic profits. And, they can make a loss. They can have a loss for a little bit. Maybe their costs are too high for some reason, or there's a shock and no one wants this product. But in the long run, for them to keep going and to keep selling this product, they have to make positive profits, something greater than zero. That would make them want to stay and not want to leave the market. So now I'm going to draw a graph and show you what it looks like for a monopoly. And I said over here, price maker, but that doesn't mean a monopoly can charge any price it wants. It actually is going to be constrained by the demand curve for the product. If Google comes out with a brand new speaker and it's really cool, but they're trying to sell it for $10,000 to normal people like us, they're probably not going to get a lot of sales. So in order to in order to get more quantity sold, they have to lower the price. Something like this. Now, the marginal revenue curve is going to be below the demand curve. It's going to be falling. And our marginal cost curve is still like a check mark. In order for us to find how many goods this firm is going to sell and at what price, we have to take a look at where first marginal cost equals marginal revenue, and that tells us the quantity. But instead of pricing down here, monopolists do have some pricing power. They're going to take this quantity and go up until we hit the demand curve and then look over. This is where the price is that this firm will sell the product for. So they're charging a higher price than marginal revenue because they have this market power. They're the only ones selling this product, so they get some pricing power. All right, now let's go on to a graph, or not a graph, I'm sorry, a table. I'm going to get black back. So the table's going to look a bit different than what we had before. I thought I fixed you. Okay. All right, well, Q. We're going to have price in these columns in this table. We're going to have total revenue, marginal revenue, and we'll typically have cost, total cost. Now we can definitely have like average variable, average, or just variable cost, fixed cost, average variable, or something like that. But I'm going to keep it simple. Not average total cost. I haven't been sleeping lately. Not because of anything, just I'm having trouble. Anyway, so marginal cost, marginal revenue, that's really the key things that we want to talk about. And my table is going to go from 1 through 5. And the price is something you're going to be given. And you'll also get probably costs. If not, you'll get average total cost and have to find total cost, something like that. But you'll have some information about the cost. This is supposed to be a 3. I know that looks bad. Sorry. And this would be what you'd want to fill out. And then I'm going to ask you, like, how many units should the firm sell and what's their profit? All right, I'm going to get a different color. If you want to copy this down, I'll give you a few seconds so you can pause this and then follow along. Let's go with blue, actually. It's a different color. All right. So we know from before even, total revenue is just price times quantity. So that's how we're going to find this first column. 1 times 30 is 30. 2 times 27 is 54. 66, 72, and 60. Then marginal revenue is still just this change in total revenue, no longer constant. 54 minus 30 is 24. 66 minus 54 is 12, and so forth. 6, and then -8. The negative number here is okay. We could get a marginal revenue that has a 0 in it, and it can also be negative. If it's negative, though, it would be toward the bottom numbers. It should start off positive, but be decreasing. So if we kept going, all of these would be more negative numbers. And then we should remember marginal cost as the change in total cost. I know you all remember that. So 30 minus 20 is 10. 38 minus 30 is 8. 43 minus 38 is 5. And 53 minus 43 is 10. So now can you spot where we should produce? Where does MR almost equal MC? But MC is lower than marginal revenue. Well, that happens here. Marginal revenue is 6 and marginal cost is 5. Remember, we want the marginal revenue if they're not equal exactly, we want marginal revenue to be a bit higher, not lower. So that says, kind of underline where we can circle these. But we look to this the first two columns. This says that we're going to produce 4 units and sell them at $18. So now the last thing I'd ask is about profit. And luckily, this is even easier than normal or even from perfect competition because we have total revenue and total cost already in these tables. So the profit, total revenue minus total cost, here it's going to be 72 minus 43. In this case, it is positive, and it's positive $29. So that is the profit that they earn here. Remember, it could be negative though. I'm just showing you a positive example. All these problems are going to be solved the same way. Now, if you're listening to this, by Sunday the 19th, if you email me a picture of your pet or someone else's pet that you know, or maybe just a funny picture that you find online of an animal, email it to me and I'll give you 5 additional points on your participation grades. So now the last thing I want to talk about is, where is demand elastic and where is demand inelastic? I know you're probably haunted by those words, remembering those huge formulas, but we did get through it. However, I do just want to show you that there's an easier way to tell here. The demand curve is elastic whenever marginal revenue is greater or equal to 0. So anything positive, or we just put 0 in with this to give it a home. And so you could look just right at your table. So marginal revenue is positive for the first 3, the first 3 marginal revenues, or the first 4 quantities. So we can say price from 30 to 18, or you can give me quantities, depends on what's asked, so like 1 through 4. And it's inelastic whenever the marginal revenue is negative, or less than 0. So in our case, it only happens once, and that's at 5 units, or the price is 12. If you wanted to find the elasticity of demand using that formula between like 4 and 5 units, go ahead and you will get a number that is inelastic or something less than 0. And this is much easier, obviously. So I hope this helps you this week on monopolies. If you have questions, of course, ask me. Have a great one.